Hello, this is the Sharing Wheel podcast, episode number 8. Today we have Kelly McLay, founder of Fitness International Travel, female founded, of course, U.S. owned, and Mama Run.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have the tag. It's good.
I do. And so, Kelly, how did this all come about? How? There's a lot here. What you do is amazing, but how did it get started?
Well, thank you for having me on today. It's excited. I know that we've met kind of through our journey at being at our local favorite coffee shop.
Yes, Kid Dreams.
Kid Dream.
It's
such
a continuation of the conversation we've had there.
Yeah, exactly. So such a special place bringing together the community. And so, how did I get started? I mean, I think the journey to anyone's professional career is, and at least mine has been many different paths and trying many different things and maybe finding out what you really like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
And so this was sort of a passion play. I stumbled upon it, never imagined. I was an English major in college. And I think when people ask me now, did you major in econ? Did you go get a business degree?
Right, yeah.
No, I just stumbled upon really believing in that you should love what you're doing. And if you love what you're doing, you won't feel like you're working a day in your life. And that value that you're putting into every day and all those hours really allows you to, be part of your family and all of that.
Sure.
So,
because that was one of my questions, and now you organize marathons around the world, places like Tokyo, Paris, France, Berlin. I mean, it's every month you're somewhere.
I pretty much, run the world. I'm not saying it.
and you have 2 in Australia, one in July and one in August. Will you be there the entire time, or do you have to go back and forth?
I won't. I will come back. So there's this incredible race in the middle, in the outback, Australian outback, run at Uluru, which is this magical experience run in the red sand around, in Aboriginal
is
land,
that
indigenous.
sort of like that mesa type structure?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really holy to the Aboriginal.
Yes. And that race is a lot. I mean, all of these races, you'll find camaraderie and incredible finish lines. But this race is really about the weekend, about experiencing indigenous culture, about the land that we're on. And then running the marathon in the red earth. I mean, the celebration dinner is under the Milky Way. So, but no, I will then come back and return to Australia a month later. So I have little kids at home. So
yeah. Because there's a mention of a testimonial on your website that when you did a previous marathon in Sydney, and it was someone's birthday, and I believe, and then you celebrated her. Everyone saying happy birthday to her on the bridge in Sydney. Am I recalling that correctly?
Yeah, you're recalling it pretty quickly. I love this. There's so many stories and amazing stories. And I think when you travel or you're away from home or something special, we try to really mark those celebrations. So it might not only be the marathon reason you're going there, but if you have a birthday or you're finishing a really big goal in the Abbott World Marathon Majors, is 6 majors, actually 7 now. Sydney was the new introduction. And we just try to really make those things important, celebrate personal lives. Like our company is more, and this kind of ties into how did this start? It's always a passion for me. Traveling the world, seeing the world, running the marathon, celebrating what's important to the individual as well, whether it be birthdays, goals, family celebrations. So we try to bring those out when people are traveling with us too.
Yeah, because a lot of people who run for a reason, right? It's not just to stay in shape, but there's could be a loved one that had passed, or raising money for charity, or there's a whole myriad of reasons why people do it. And so, because I was wondering, if it's like you fly to Tokyo, you're running a marathon, but you're also organizing how many how many people come on these trips? Like, from the pictures, looks like 20 or 30 people, maybe more, or it depends.
It really depends. We are a boutique agency, and our niche market is this marathon experience. But our smaller trips are 25 to 40 individuals.
Okay.
But we were in Berlin with 220,
Oh, wow.
and then we were in London with over 300 people.
So, because like I read the reviews are all 5-star reviews.
Thank you.
And what keeps on coming up is attention to detail. And is that the English major in you, that sort of that detail orientated? Because it's probably those little things that are critical when you're running a marathon, like say leaving the hotel and maybe getting on a subway that brings you directly to the marathon, or the travel.
Yeah.
Those little arrangements that must go a long way for the
So
runners.
attention to detail is crucial. Like we try to make our operations on the ground real turnkey.
Yeah.
When you're running a marathon, there's a lot to get worried about. And then when you add international travel, there's a lot of other components that come into play.
Yeah.
And so our goal is just remove any of the nerves or race day operations to make sure that the runner and the spectator too. I mean, spectating is a sport, I will tell you.
Okay, yeah.
I did spectating once or twice.
Okay.
My husband usually does it.
Yeah.
And I was more stressed spectating, trying to make sure I didn't miss him and get to the right spot and run around and navigate the crowds.
Yeah, interesting.
Than I was just being on the course where I
Right.
had water stations and
Yeah.
I'm not minimizing how long a marathon is, but I think to your point, attention to detail is we need to get them to places by a certain time. We need to have a hotel that makes sense for when they're finishing, if they don't feel good, if they want to get back easily. We also want them to be able to be comfortable where they are and have beautiful views, see the host city, bring that host city to life. So
Right, yeah.
it is about the attention to detail and birthdays, right? Recognizing that someone's traveling with you and it's their birthday. So
Sure.
I think all those little things go into what make the weekend more than just ticking off a marathon. It's really about the camaraderie and the community that we build in the destination that we go to.
Yeah, and it's so because running is can be a solitary experience, right? Particularly for a marathon. But if you travel in a group, it creates community, and then all those things that the benefits of a community of runners, right?
Right. I mean, you have a little built-in foundation, and I think what we do really well is that we, kind of combine enough of group activities so you can feel like you have a foundation and a resource and people to celebrate with. And also, we do get a lot of like female travelers who really love to travel alone, but might want to connect with individuals or feel like they have a little bit of a safety hub
Right.
of people going. So I think it's enough planned activities and then enough free time for you to still be yourself and see what you want to see and explore the host city on your own. You mentioned like it's a passion play and people run for a lot of different reasons. And your very first question I didn't get back to is that how did I get into this? I truly believe that when you work or when you do something, you really got to love what you do.
Yes.
And I fell in love with the marathon. By default, I got ill. It wasn't a death sentence, but I actually found out that I went through menopause at 20. And I was navigating this really awkward time, being a post-grad when you're trying to figure out your career. And I needed a goal, and I needed a big goal. And the marathon felt really unattainable. And I know that people look at me now and they say, oh, you've run 90 marathons. But there was a time where I couldn't run a mile. And I was just down the road here in Beverly, and I tried to do the loop around Boyle Street to Hale Street. And I couldn't even make a 3-mile loop. So the marathon seemed like so unattainable.
Sure, yeah.
And I was just navigating a lot physically, emotionally. I mean, any female going through menopause can kind of understand that. And then add that I was 20. It was just a complicated situation emotionally and physically. So I just, I was pretty beat up. I picked the marathon. It seemed unattainable. And then when I hit that first finish line, it just led to so many other believable finish lines. because it felt so hard.
Yeah. Everything, more things became possible.
So I sort of stumbled into this originally hating running. I was a
Yes,
team athlete here in Beverly and
Okay,
at Bowdoin.
yeah.
And then I just found this passion, and eventually my passion became my profession. And it's really just been a beautiful journey navigating life and then bringing about this career.
Yeah, awesome. And your first marathon was here, local?
Boston.
Boston Marathon? Fantastic. Great way to start. And then, like, so you're running them. Will you run the marathon if you're host, like, say you're you're going to Dublin?
Yeah.
And so you fly in and you're running that with your group?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I guess my question is, how do you pay attention to detail and do all those little things, but also run the marathon? I mean, and I guess I'm going to answer my own question. Like, so is it the passion for it that just sort of gives you the foundation of, like, the energy to kind of tackle that?
I think so. I just love it. I mean, and I think I've beat myself up enough on the courses that my body kind of says, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
But mostly as well, by that point, all of the nitty gritty, like once everybody gets to the start line, I sort of can relax a little bit.
Okay.
And there's this moment where everybody's in the race.
Yeah.
And
then it's kind of.
I mean, I'm at the start. I might as
runs
well
itself. Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
But it does
Yeah.
make for a really hard turnaround. I do run with my phone. I hate running with a phone. I actually don't run with a watch and would prefer to be tech free.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of people
If someone
needs me.
gets-
Right. I'm the one off the course.
Sure.
So
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
There is in your a testimonial where someone actually got ill halfway through the race, and you were there for her and coached her and helped her get through the race.
So those are some great moments, It's a
Yeah.
tough call sometimes, like, do you run the race or do you cheer on the sidelines?
Yeah.
But there's been so many times where I've come up on a client or a runner in the race, and it's tough because some people want to navigate the course on your own, or some people might just need a friend. And we've had these excellent journeys along the course where it's like, come on, you can do this, you're here, and we just stay together and then finish together, or we get to a certain point where we mutually agree, like, I've got it. So sometimes running the race is a great way to even engage with our community more.
Yes. Yeah.
Additionally, if someone's going to an event, it's crucial for me as an expert in the industry to let them know what the race is like.
Yeah.
What are the hills? What are the turns? What is the terrain? How are you going to feel? How does it compare to another race? So it gives me expert insight to the event. Although I say I'm getting a little too old for these now. It's hard to
90 marathons. That's impressive. Yeah.
It's
Wow.
been fun. I mean, look, if you think back to it, when I was here in Beverly and couldn't run a mile, and now 90 marathon later, I would not believe it.
Wow. And we talked earlier about going to Kenya for a safari run.
Oh my God.
That's in the works, or is it not? Has a date been set for that, or
the date's been set? It's at the end of June 26th, 2025.
Yeah.
We hope to launch it this weekend. Nice. I mean, Kenya, to me, I know you have a connection to Africa.
Yes. Yeah.
With your sons and yourself.
Yeah. My wife's from South Africa, Cape Town.
Yeah. To me, it's one of the most beautiful continents in the world.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And just to be able to run in a game park and run in Kenya, where a lot of the amazing marathon runners are from.
Yes.
It's just such a great feeling. And also the event gives back to the local community through water projects, through education, through animal conservation. So it's such a feel good we're calling it our off the beaten path, the road less traveled, run the road less traveled series. And it's a great way. Cities are amazing, but what a way to actually travel and see the world. And
fantastic. And then you're doing one with the Marine Corps too at the end of the year.
Yeah, I love it. So Marine Corps Marathon is the 50th anniversary next year. So it was important to us to really be a part of this celebration and the history of this event. And of course, there's a lot going on in DC this year. So It's a great way. There's Marines at every mile, and they man the water stations.
Okay.
And then also, the finish, it's a little bit hard. I do think it's a little unfair because at the end of the marathon, you don't have much energy, but you climb like a hill to the Iwo Jima statue, and you finish there. So it's really powerful.
Interesting. Wow.
A powerful combination of finish.
Yeah. Wow.
I know so many things.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And then I know you helped with this, but also participated in the 7 marathons, 7 continents, 7 days. I would say just the air travel alone would be a marathon, right? But so, what was that like? And you started in Antarctica, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And then we just travel around the world. What was it, around the world in 180 days? Was that?
So was it like Antarctica? Was there ice there?
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wind,
ice. We did the marathon half in Gloucester over the weekend.
Okay.
And there was this patch near Pebble Beach in Gloucester, and it was full-on headwinds, maybe 25 miles an hour, and we almost felt like we were going backwards, my friend and I. And I said to her in that moment, if you ever want to know what it's like running a marathon in Antarctica, just take this, run along Gloucester on this day, and take the temperature down another 15 or 20 degrees.
Wow.
So I've run it. I've been very fortunate to have traveled to Antarctica 5 times. Twice via boat and 3 times via air.
Okay.
And it's just when you're there, the air is so pure and pristine, but it will eat you up.
Yeah. And then how do you get to Antarctica? Do you have to fly to Argentina or
So I've flown in from South America, the tip of South America, Punta Arenas, and I've flown in from twice from Cape Town. So it's a 6-hour flight from Cape Town into different bases. So there's different.
So you land on a base.
We landed on a base.
Interesting.
And then I've also landed interior Antarctica at Union Glacier. And now there's a new place that we're collaborating with for an event in December of 2025 at Wolf's Fang. And it's just incredible when you, it's surreal to take a plane and land on an ice runway in Antarctica. Yeah. And I know environmentally, that could be conflicting. Yeah. They take as many measures as possible to still keep the area pristine and pure.
Sure. Yeah.
But it is something special
it's
to
almost like off-planet marathon. Right?
It does feel that way. I mean, you just feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's so white.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
Then to go from there to Cape Town, which is like so.
So the itinerary, it's automatic.
Yeah.
So once you finish, you're basically, I say it's kind of like a rat race around the world. Almost the logistics of the in-between, the spontaneity, and I think what I'm managing for all the other events, and then you're saying, how do you run? Almost, and having the 3 little kids and waking up at all hours of the night almost made me a really good candidate for this race. Because there's no sleep. And the turnaround in between the events and the logistics is almost the harder part. By the time you get to the run, or that next run, the day after, you've already survived or been managing the flights, the airport, the repacking, the recovery. And then it's time to go again. So the itinerary basically that I did, I've also been able to do it twice. And if there was a third time, I'd say yes in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Although my husband may say no.
So it went from Antarctica to Cape Town and then up to Europe?
So then we head over to Australia. Which is incredible because you get this 13-hour flight and you need sleep. And
so that's...
it's crucial.
Downtime.
Because you've done 2 back-to-back races in less than 24 hours.
Right.
With 12 hours of flying.
And then from Australia, you go to...
From Australia, we went to Abu Dhabi, which is, Dubai. Sorry, not Abu Dhabi. We went to Dubai. That was our Asia. Then from Dubai, we went to Lisbon.
Lisbon. Wow.
What am I on now? Oh my God, is that 5? Lisbon to Cartagena, and then Cartagena to Miami. We finished in Miami.
Antarctica to Miami. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And so what are your coffee needs when you're doing that?
Lots. I know. Should have a kid dream
do you
IV.
have your, like, do you have to bring like one of those, travel cappuccino makers?
Oh my God, I wish. It's like survival. You're just like, I don't even know. I had an IV bag on the plane,
Really?
draped from the overhead compartment, which is really
Wow.
a first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always say it's kind of funny. Like, I could have just done that crazy trip and then just walked into Kid Dream and been sitting next to you. Like,
Yeah, no, I've seen you come in a few
No
times.
big deal.
Yeah, coming
I know.
in from somewhere.
I'm back.
Yeah. So your next marathon is this month. Will you be doing one in December?
we had
or-
Valencia at early December, and
Okay.
it was a really incredible race. We weren't sure if it was going to go on because of the recent floods in Valencia.
Yes. Yeah.
And that were devastating to the area. And the marathon really, their focus primarily was giving back to the community and helping salvage and rebuild.
Nice.
And collectively with the community, they decided, well, let's make this like a run for Valencia.
Cool. Yeah,
So
yeah.
cool.
Wow.
And that
Yeah.
start line was just about everybody in the community coming together. I mean, the
Yeah,
power of
yeah, yeah.
Run
Yeah.
and a global
Awesome.
community. So they
Wow.
really
Yeah,
ran
yeah.
for Valencia. So that was in the beginning of December. And what a great time of year to give back.
Sure.
And then my next one, and my kids don't know right now, is that we are taking them to Disney.
Oh,
So
fun.
the Disney Marathon is in early January.
Oh, cool.
January 8th to the 13th, and
Oh.
I'm doing a back-to-back half marathon, full marathon, and you have to get up at like 2 in the morning
Yeah.
and start the marathon at 4.
Yeah.
So that
Wow.
you're
Yeah.
done before the park opens, and then
Okay.
have a whole marathon day at the park. So we'll see. I'll let you
Wow.
know how that.
Yeah. It's just
I think I'd much rather have 300 clients that I'm managing than a full day at Disney, but we'll see.
well. And then, so if someone wants to contact you, how do they do that?
Sure. I mean, our website is fitnessinternationaltravel.com, and it has a plethora of information. Of course, the local community, on, we have an Instagram handle, fitness.i.travel, and then they can email Kelly at fitnessinternationaltravel.com.
Okay.
Or I guess come say hi to us at Kid Dream.
Yeah, go to Kid Dreams. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Cool.
Although we shouldn't share our secret
That's
gem of a location.
Oh, it's out.
I know.
Cool. Yeah, and we'll. I wanted to mention if you have some pictures that you want to include into this podcast, we can talk about that later.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, I just think it's great for anybody running the world, and it doesn't have to be the marathon. You know, I've had people come on the trips that aren't runners, or
Sure.
they get inspired while they're on the trip.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll enter the 5K, or, Australia has a fun run and the kids
Yeah.
are doing it,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Outback Marathon.
Yeah.
And most of these weekend events have like a 5K, and supporters and spectators are just as important. So this is about traveling the world, not just running it. And yeah, so anybody.
Yeah. There's so
can-
many little gateways into transformation, whether it's like traveling to another place in the world, or running a marathon, or the experiences that you have during a marathon. There's so many, gateways to transformation, I guess. It's just really fascinating.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it, as you can see probably.
And you're an author as well. Is that how I say?
I know, but I don't think I can compete with you.
No. And
Someday there'll be the book.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
People keep telling me to write it.
Yeah.
From
There's so much
menopause
there.
to motherhood.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all the marathons in between.
yeah. And you're a keynote speaker as well.
Yeah, I've done a few keynotes depending on like what it is for individuals, and just was talking to someone about doing one locally for a women's conference. So
Yeah.
I've done the past on infertility. I've done the past on running the world,
Yeah.
on the 777. And just, talking about these life experiences and how you stumble into them.
Sure.
Mostly
Yeah.
on just saying like, don't be afraid to say yes.
Yeah, and your mantra, I have it written down here. You have a phrase that you repeat. I think you mentioned it on the way in. Did I write it down? No, I don't think I did.
Should I give you a moment?
Um,
You've been so key on.
oh gosh. It was like, just a phrase, I saw it on your website.
It's really quick.
Like all is good or something like that. All
Yeah.
is good or something, yeah.
I mean, basically just say happy days.
Happy days. Happy days.
I got
That's
it from a friend in Australia, and it's just always stuck with me. And I think that it's a great way to just be like, all right, happy days. Like, no worries. Like, it's gonna be happy days.
Yeah. Set the intention.
Set the intention. Happy running. You know, running with a smile is so key.
Yeah.
And find the next finish line. We'll be there.
Fantastic. Well, great speaking with you, Kelly, and so pleased we can take the conversation from the coffee shop to here at BevCam.
Oh my God!
And
Thank you
share
for
it
having
with,
me.
the community, and awesome. Happy days.
Happy days. Oh, the
Cheers.
other one that's a little bit less G-rated.
Okay.
Is
There's another one. Okay.
Well, there's another one. It's just
tell me off here. Yeah.
run like hell and buy the milk.
Okay. Great. Cheers.